Barbie, you probably would have never guessed that the following quote is from this film. Everything starts as you expect. Barbie is having a perfect day, like everything. The toast is just right, the milk is fresh, the sun is shining, everyone is smiling and greeting her with, "Hi, Barbie." Barbie is her usual perfect self, driving in her pink car, meeting Barbies and Kens on the beach. And at her dance party on that same perfect evening, she is the glamorous, perfect dancing host. Until the moment when she asks a question that crosses her mind in that very moment. Did you guys ever think about dying? Everything stops still. Silence. Do you guys ever think about dying? Having Ash Wednesday coincide with Valentine's Day, the day of celebration of love and lovers, could be called our Christian Barbie moment. Because what question would seem more out of place on this day than, do you ever think about dying? It is easy, however, to be out of place with the topic death in our lives, in our culture. The general trend is to avoid any thought of it as long as possible. Face it only when unavoidable. Be unprepared for the one circumstance we all know every one of us will experience, and be totally at a loss when trying to make sense of it. It, meaning death, dying, grief. But as baptized, we are by definition, by our creed, out of place in this culture. We live countercultural. We understand ourselves as God's creatures, created by God, in contrast to made through and by our own powers. We see ourselves in relationship to God and all of God's creation, and as such, not like God. We are not eternal, not perfect, not unfailing, just not 100%. Throughout our lives, we experience so many deaths, in moments of failure, of broken relationships, of illness, of shattered dreams and hopes. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. These are the words that Pastor Matt and I would say as we impose ashes on your foreheads later, to remind you of your mortality. Death could, even by atheists, be described as our ultimate limit. The fear of our death is the fear of our limitedness. But I'm honestly more scared of a humankind that makes itself believe that it is unlimited and lives in that fashion. Therefore, I would argue that the experience of failure, of all those smaller and bigger deaths in our lives, help us to understand our limits, if we then dare to listen to them. And that these experiences can lead us to a better and clearer understanding of who we are, each one of us. Now, great. We are reminded of our mortality. We gain all these insights about our limitedness. But what for? It helps us to live in reality. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. These initial words, starting the season of Lent, are really a blessing, because they deconstruct what we don't want to see and tell the truth. We are but dust. Facing this reality, we might encounter feelings of impotence, of oppression, resignation, physical and emotional pain, humiliation, and vulnerability in varying degrees of intensity. It is a raw state of being. We open ourselves to the world. We live unfiltered. But I think we can live a better life if we think more intentionally about death. So we remember death in order to affirm life. Meditating on mortality helps me to live more fully in the present moment. to think about what counts in our lives. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume and where thieves break in and steal, is what Jesus says. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Being able and allowed to acknowledge our mortality is a tremendous gift. It reorders our desires. It narrows our focus and gives us a new perspective that is rooted in reality. So what counts in this reality? What comes to your mind that can make a difference in the world that is seeing hatred and war, injustice and oppression, resignation and neglect, exploitation and abuse? And the more I think about it, the more I feel the only answer and action to all this can be love. I know, not because it's Valentine's Day. It is because for us as Easter people, our journey does not end with death. Lent begins today, on Ash Wednesday, moves forward to Good Friday, and then culminates on Easter Sunday. From there, as Peter preached in his post-resurrection sermon, we wait until the time comes for God to restore everything. An act of love. And the love that we share here and now, in all its different nuances, is the foreshadowing of that time of restoration. I love Lent. It's an entirely positive exercise, and we as believers are the ultimate optimists. Lent reminds me that I don't need to be stuck in old ways of thinking and acting. Change and renewal are possible. I can hit the reset button. I don't need to wait for old age to magically impart a new perspective on what matters most in life. So on Ash Wednesday, I'm grateful for the reminder of my limitedness, for the refocusing, for gaining the perspective of what truly counts. During the hymn of the day, the next hymn, I invite you to take one of these hearts from the baskets that we will pass around. They look like beef jerky, I've been told. It's not beef jerky, it's paper mache. So you're not supposed to eat them. They contain seeds for hummingbird and butterfly attracting plants. You're supposed to plant them. Plant your heart this Lenten season and watch it grow. Watch others feed on your small act of kindness. And repeat. Over and over again. So love. Amen. Please stand.